My beloved child, in the depths of eternity, before time began and when the world was but a blank canvas, I already knew you. I did not merely see your form, I understood your soul. Nothing in you is accidental. Every breath, every ache, every longing within you is the result of the hand of the Creator. You are not the product of chance, but the living proof of a divine purpose. Before you opened your eyes for the first time, I engraved your name on the palm of my hand, Isaiah 49:16. Not to remember you as a fleeting memory, but to carry you through every step of my unshakable plan. I know there are days like today, when you feel invisible in the current of life, like a whisper unheard, a presence unacknowledged. But in my gaze, you are one I have called in a special way. Like Samuel in the stillness of the sanctuary, hearing my voice in the dark of night, you too are hearing me gently, yet clearly and resolutely. You are not forgotten, not cast aside, not lost in the crowd. It was I who led you through winding paths to this place, where your soul begins to awaken and turn toward true light. I have seen the tears you swallowed in silence, the questions you dared not speak, the burdens others never noticed. At times, even you cannot explain the heaviness in your heart as though you were carrying a sky full of sorrow. But today I declare to you, no pain escapes my notice. No tear falls in vain. Every suffering you endure, every moment you remain faithful, is becoming the very material from which I craft a miracle beyond measure. Just as Joseph, sold into slavery, rose to hold the power of life and death in Egypt, I am preparing a way no wall can stand against. Do not let weariness cause you to forget how vital you are in my kingdom. Do not allow the careless words of others to rob the dignity I have placed within you. And above all, do not let momentary failures cause you to doubt the eternal worth you carry inside. Do you know? Some things can only be birthed through breaking, like fragrance released from crushed oil, like gold refined by fire. You too are being shaped in the heat of trials. On this journey, there will be times when I remain silent, not because I've turned away, but because I am teaching you to hear the whisper in the wind, to discern my voice amid 1,000 distractions. My silence is not absence, it is a deeper form of presence. As a teacher is silent during a test, I am waiting for you to grow in faith, to walk not by feeling but by the knowledge that I have never left you. Spiritual maturity is not measured by how often you feel me, but by how often you obey me, even when you feel nothing at all. Know this, I do not seek the strong by human standards, but I choose the ones who bow low. I use the humble to shake nations. I write history with the nameless. Do not reject yourself because you feel not good enough, not holy enough, not wise enough. The only thing I require of you is a soft heart willing to listen, ready to obey. The rest, transformation, growth, courage, I will bring about within you. Do not forget, Abraham had nothing but a promise. Yet he walked on, not knowing where he was going. He only knew that I was trustworthy, and that faith was counted to him as righteousness. You too are being called into such a journey, not by calculation, but by surrender, not by your strength, but by the power that comes from walking with me. Step out of the comfort zone of fear. Shake off the remnants of a past that binds you to outdated definitions of yourself. You are no longer who you were yesterday. You are becoming a new creation, not by striving, but by grace. I see not only your current struggle, I see who you are becoming. And because of that, I will not let you stay in complacency. I will stir what must be changed and rebuild what must be restored. My child, do not judge yourself by the season you're in. A seed buried in soil may seem invisible, but it holds untold life within. The season of sprouting always follows the season of silence, and it is in the unseen moments that the greatest things are formed. I am writing a story not for the applause of man, but to bring glory to my name through your life. So do not panic at the lack of results. I am the one who works in secret, only to one day unveil my glory in your life in a way that will astonish both heaven and earth. My dear one, when I watch you walk through these gray days, with shadows draped around your soul, know that my heart is never distant. I do not merely witness, I empathize. As one who once walked dusty roads, bearing a fragile body drenched in sweat and sorrow, I understand the weariness of flesh, the loneliness of the heart, and the silent inner battles that torment your spirit. But it is these heavy steps that draw the map of faithfulness across the spiritual desert. I see that you do not give up, though there are many chances to turn back, and that is more precious than any offering you could bring. There will be seasons when unnamed worries seem to drown you. Small things suddenly feel overwhelming. Every word, every glance, every small wound might push you near your limits. But I want you to understand that fragility does not disappoint me. On the contrary, in that vulnerability, you open the door for my power to enter, like clay in the potter's hands. The cracks allow the light to seep in, allowing me to shape you once again, not according to worldly standards or broken pasts, but according to the original, sacred design. Do not be ashamed of your weakness. Do not hide your fears. I do not love you because you are strong. I love you because you are mine. It is when you bring your weakness into the light that I do my deepest work. Just as Jesus washed the disciples' feet, a seemingly small act, but one that revealed the core of true service and unconditional love, I too kneel before the places you try to hide, not to judge, but to cleanse, to heal, and to restore. Those around you may only see the surface, your actions, your missteps, your imperfect responses, but I do not see as man sees. I do not measure worth by appearances. I see the silent battles in your heart, the unseen places where you fight to stand, where you choose forgiveness when hurt, where you stay silent when you could speak back, where you guard your heart in a chaotic world. These hidden victories are what move heaven, and there I record your triumph. My child, there are things I must remove from your hands, not to deprive you, but because they are hindering you from receiving the better. Some relationships, dreams, and plans may seem good, yet they do not align with the deeper purpose I have set for you. Just as Abraham had to leave his homeland not knowing where he was going, and Paul had to forsake all he once counted as gain to know me more deeply, you too are called to step out of familiarity and into something far greater, something you've never imagined. I know the feeling of losing control unsettles you. I know you long to know every detail, to plan every step, but I did not call you to live by predictions. I called you to live by faith, not blind faith, but faith placed in the one who never changes. I am he who parted the Red Sea, who multiplied bread and fish, who raised the dead. Today, I am still that same Godend. I will do wonders for you too. But know this, miracles do not come from comfort zones. They are born when you step out of the boat. Like Peter did, feet trembling, eyes fixed on me. I do not demand perfect steps. I only ask that you keep your eyes on me. When you dare to walk on what seems impossible, I will be the invisible ground beneath your feet. My child, there is one thing I desire more than anything else, that your heart remains undivided. A divided heart will never fully receive what I long to give. Just as Elisha refused to return to his former life, burning the plow and slaughtering the oxen that once sustained him to follow Elijah, I am calling you to release the old in order to step fully into the new. You cannot cling to the past and still expect to walk in the fullness of the future. You cannot bring old habits into a new season without disrupting heaven's design. So, examine your heart. What holds the highest place in your soul? What causes you to hesitate when I call? What do you insist on keeping? Even as I am asking you to let go, these very things will determine how far you can walk into the calling I have reserved for you. I will not force you. I am the one who waits patiently, never coercing, but always inviting. I will not compete for your attention with fleeting things. But if you choose to listen, I will speak. If you choose to move, I will lead. If you choose to trust, I will fulfill. Open your heart not only to receive, but to release. Not only to be filled, but to be transformed. My beloved, when you choose to give me your whole heart, you are not merely stepping into a spiritual journey, but into a profound transformation, one that reshapes your soul, your words, your thoughts, and your way of loving. I am not seeking outer perfection or worldly applause. I am searching for a tender, humble heart that is willing to be molded by my hand. It is such a heart that will shake barren lands. It is such humility that will become the sure foundation for what I will build through you. The calling I have placed on your life is not small. It is not for display, nor to satisfy fleeting emotions. It is a covenant, and this covenant is not written with ink, but engraved upon your spirit with fire from heaven. To walk fully in this covenant requires undistracted obedience, unwavering faith, and steadfast commitment. I am not looking for those who follow me for benefits, but for those who remain faithful even when I seem silent. Just as Joseph kept his heart pure in the prison, and Daniel prayed, despite knowing he'd be thrown into the lion's den, I want you to be steadfast in moments without praise, without spotlight, when all you have is pure faith. There will be times when you feel delayed in a world that is rushing ahead, when others appear to be advancing, while you seem to be standing still, when my promises have yet to be fulfilled, while those who do not even pray seem to prosper. In those moments, remember, I do not measure worth by speed, but by depth. Strong roots are not planted in sunny days, but in the heavy rains where nothing is visible. But I am digging deep so you can stand firm when the storms come. You are not being delayed, you are being prepared. And timely preparation always precedes the revelation of glory. Like the fig tree Jesus approached, which had leaves but no fruit. All that looks good on the outside but lacks real substance will not endure. I do not want you to have an appearance of godliness without a living connection with me. Only that intimate connection produces true spiritual fruit. If you remain in me, and my words remain in you, you may ask whatever you wish, and it will be done. But the condition is this: you remain in me, meaning you choose to place me at the center of every decision, every dream, every step, holding nothing back. No hesitation, no negotiation. That connection will be the source of unceasing life, where you are nourished by something far greater than human wisdom. My child, many long for the light, but refuse the furnace. They want power without the solitude where I refine the soul. But you cannot walk into glory without first being purified. Just as gold must pass through fire to be made pure, just as wheat must be sifted to remove the chaff, so too must your spirit be refined. Not because I seek to punish, but because I desire you to become a worthy vessel for the great works I will accomplish through you. No tear you shed is wasted. No trial is meaningless. Every moment is shaping you into the one you were destined to become. I know what is coming against you. I know the doubting thoughts, the emotional swings, the whispers that tell you you're not enough. But I also know what I have planted inside you, and I am faithful to complete what I have begun. You are not a mistake. You are my masterpiece still in the making. Each time you choose forgiveness over anger, love over judgment, prayer over complaint, you are stepping closer to the fullness of the image I designed for you. And when you go forth not in your own name, but in mine, every power of darkness will recognize that you carry authority not of your own, but from the one who sent you. Just as Moses' staff held no power until he obeyed and laid it down, your life will not hold its full meaning until you place it in my hands and allow me to use it according to my will. So do not fear letting go. Do not mourn what is past. Do not cling to dead dreams, for I am planting something new within you. And this new thing will not only replace the old, it will surpass it. It will not only be for you, but also for those whose lives will be touched through yours. You are not living for yourself alone. You are destined to be a forerunner, a gatekeeper, a builder of what will outlast this life. Remember this: the quieter you are before me, the clearer you will hear. The more deeply you abide in me, the more precisely you'll discern when to act and when to wait. And in the waiting, you are not forgotten. You are being hidden for an appointed time. Just as Joseph was imprisoned before he ruled, just as David was chased before he was crowned, your time will come, and it will be right on time. Not early, not late, but divinely appointed. My child, in every generation. Faith is not proven in times of peace, but in the silent battles where your commitment to me is deeply tested. You may not always see the enemy, but that does not mean there is no war. Each day, your soul stands on a battlefield where light and darkness clash, where truth confronts deception. And in that place, you must learn not only to stand, but to overcome without bitterness, without a broken spirit, without letting your faith dissolve into ash. You once thought the storms outside were the most frightening, but the greatest storms often rise from within. When you wrestle with unanswered questions, with silent cries in the night, with wounds from old words that still haven't healed, or the subtle cracks in your heart the enemy quietly exploits. He doesn't always come with loud threats. Sometimes, all he needs is a tiny seed of doubt. And slowly, while you are distracted, it takes root, grows, and distorts your vision until you can no longer see me clearly. That's why I say, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. No fortress is secure if your heart is no longer whole. These battles are not meant to destroy you, but to reveal what governs you. When things go well, your heart may sing, and your lips praise. But it is in the silence, when prayers hit the ceiling, when you have no strength left, that I see where your trust truly lies. That's when gold is separated from rubble, when false glory is burned away, and only the pure remains. You cannot defeat external enemies until you've conquered the silent rebellions within fear, pride, doubt, and quiet compromise. My child, you are not called to avoid the battle but to prevail within it. You are not a victim wandering in darkness, but a warrior armed by heaven. There is no armor for your back, because I did not call you to retreat. You are equipped to move forward. Every time you choose truth over lies, silence over harsh words, forgiveness over resentment, you are stepping deeper into spiritual maturity. And that kind of maturity cannot be taken from you. It cannot be shaken by others' opinions, by difficult circumstances, or by temporary failures. It is forged in fire, refined in tears, and sealed through total surrender. Do you know, my child, that even Christ, while walking among men, did not escape the battles of this world? He faced temptation in the wilderness, betrayal at the table, and unspeakable agony in the Garden of Gethsemane. Yet he did not retreat, for he knew what lay ahead. And so do you. When you step into battles unseen by human eyes, remember, I am there not only as your commander, but as one who has fought, and because I have overcome, you too will overcome if you remain in me. Do not be afraid when you find yourself weak. Your weakness does not disappoint me. What grieves my heart is when you pretend to be strong and keep your distance from me. Come to me in honesty, for I do not abandon a soul in anguish. I lift the oppressed. I comfort the wounded. I do not wait for you to arrive clothed in shining armor. I seek you in the shadows where you hide even from yourself. It is there I will touch the deepest part of you, the place you let no one enter. And I do not enter to condemn, but to heal, not to judge, but to restore. My child, stay awake. Your enemy does not sleep, and neither can you slumber in the midst of battle. Do not let false comforts lull your spirit. Do not let fleeting applause distract you from my voice. I am calling you upward, not to a platform of worldly glory, but to a spiritual vantage point from which you can see everything through heaven's lens. From that place, you will no longer be swayed by circumstances. You will not live by feelings, but by faith. And from there, the words you speak will no longer be mere human utterances, but will carry power to transform circumstances, restore lives, and push back the darkness. There will be moments when you feel nothing but silence, no signs, no confirmations, no clear sense of my presence. In those times, the enemy will whisper that I have left, that you are abandoned, that your prayers do not reach heaven. But my child, there are lessons only learned in the dark. Light is not always the best teacher. Sometimes it is in the deepest night, when all is hidden, that faith is refined. Remember Joseph in prison, David wandering the caves, Elijah thinking he was the last faithful one. All of them endured prolonged silence, yet none were forgotten. For even in the silence, I was working. You must learn to trust me, not only when I act visibly, but also when there is no sign at all. That is mature faith, the kind that does not live by feelings but by promise. I have spoken, and my word is more certain than anything you feel. Look back at the path you've walked. You once thought you wouldn't survive some of the trials. And yet here you are, standing in a battlefield that once threatened to drown you. Not because you were strong enough, but because I upheld you every step of the way. And I still am. You just haven't seen the full picture yet. But where I'm leading you, you will look back and realize that every slow step, every silent season, was necessary. Dark seasons are not meant to imprison you, but to birth something new within your soul. Just as a seed must be buried in the soil to sprout, your soul must sometimes enter solitude to hear the truest heavenly call. There is wisdom that cannot be heard in noise. There are revelations reserved only for those who seek in loneliness and faithfulness. I do not want you to live dependent on fleeting emotions or chase signs to measure my presence. Instead, I want you to know I am faithful, whether you feel me or not. I am there. That alone purifies your love for Minot, based on rewards. But on a living and enduring relationship, my beloved child, do not measure your journey by speed, but by depth. You may not advance as far as others, but what matters more is whether your roots grow deep in me. When the storms come, it is not the tallest branch that survives, but the deepest root. What I am building in you is not shallow. I have not called you to walk only part way and then stop in the desert. I am laying an unshakable foundation in you. So when I open greater doors, you will not collapse under the weight of the blessing. Do not rush the process. Do not compare your journey. You do not know the price others have paid, and they do not know what you have sacrificed. Every soul has its own path, crafted by my hands, with not one step wasted and not one trial lacking. Sometimes I lead you on roads you would never choose, so you may become someone you never imagined possible. And those very paths, the dark ones you wish to avoid, are where I plant my most precious seeds in your soul. Seeds of patience, seeds of discernment, seeds of compassion for the weak. For you have known weakness and been lifted by my hand. My child, look again at the things you once rejected, the moments you pleaded with me not to allow. Those very things became turning points, not because they were good in themselves, but because I used them to shape you into my image, like a potter with clay. I am not afraid to break you to remake you. I do not hesitate to tear down what is outdated to build anew, because I love you too much to leave you as an unfinished version of yourself. Maturity is not found in avoiding pain, but in discovering purpose within it. There are things you will only understand in hindsight, but until then, I want you to keep walking. You don't need to understand everything, only obey. You don't need to see the whole, only trust that I see it all. For I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. If I have led you onto this path, I will also complete it. Just keep walking, one step at a time. My light is enough for today, and every step taken in faith brings you closer to the greatness I've prepared for your soul. You once asked me why good things in your life were taken away. You thought that anything that brought joy and a sense of fulfillment must surely be from me, but you did not yet understand that some things are good, but not best. Some things appear as blessings but are really coverings for complacency. And sometimes, I must take away what you think you need to give you what your soul truly needs. Not because I want you to hurt, but because I want you to be free. True freedom does not come when you possess everything, but when nothing possesses you. Some chains are soft. They take the shape of personal dreams, relationships, or the approval of others. But when you rely on these things to define your worth, they slowly replace me in your heart. And I, in unchanging mercy, will disturb those things. I will shake what you lean on. So you return to lay your foundation in me. Let's talk about Abraham. I promised him descendants as numerous as the stars. Yet I called him to offer Isaac the most precious gift he had, the embodiment of all my promises. I did not need that offering to know his heart, but he needed it, to detach his soul from dependency. And when you, like Abraham, are willing to place what is most dear on the altar of surrender, that is when you unlock a deeper blessing, unshakable intimacy with the one who formed your soul. I did not call you to follow me just to fulfill your dreams. I called you to become like me. And that process is not cosmetic, but foundational. You may want me to change your circumstances, but I am using your circumstances to change you. I did not come to decorate your old life. I came to make it completely new. You will have to let go of what once defined you. You may even have to deny what seems reasonable, to embrace what is eternal. It won't be easy, but it is in that transformation that you will discover the true essence of what I placed in you from the very beginning. I see you trying to cling to things that once gave you comfort. But my child, if your wings are weighed down with old baggage, you cannot soar in the new skies I am opening before you. I don't just want you to live a moral life. I want you to live a transformed life, not merely avoiding sin, but burning with truth, not just working for me, but abiding in me, because the calling I've placed on you cannot be contained in old ways of living. It requires a person renewed from the inside out. My beloved child, perhaps I am silencing the very things you once believed were my voice. Perhaps I am closing doors you once fervently prayed would open. Do not be disoriented. Do not doubt. When a season ends, it does not mean you have failed. It simply means I am leading you into a deeper stage of maturity. I am not building ease within you, but resilience, not so that others may applaud you, but so that hell trembles when you take a step. And that only happens when you refuse to let the judgment of others determine your path. Let me be your guide. You don't need to draft a detailed plan. I did not call you to control everything, but to trust me step by step, just as I did not give Israel the full map in the wilderness, but manna day by day, a cloud by step. So I do not want you to just reach the destination. I want you to walk with me. That intimacy is more precious than any achievement, and when you learn this, everything else will be added in its time. Child, if you must lose some things to have me, you have lost nothing. But if you keep everything and yet lack me, you truly have nothing at all. I am the inheritance that does not fade. I am the source that never runs dry. And it is in this exchange, when you dare to let go and receive my presence, that your soul will find perfect rest. No more striving, no more straining. Just rest in my arms, where battles are settled, where your worth is not defined by what you do, but by the one to whom you belong. It is time to leave the place you've grown accustomed to, not because it is bad, but because it can no longer contain what I am doing in you. There are limits that cannot be broken unless you let go of the old. There are breakthroughs that only come when you step out of your comfort zone, when you release what was once a blessing but has now become a burden. I cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. New wine requires new vessels. A new journey demands a renewed mind. New blessings call for a deeper level of surrender. If you cling to what was once good, You will miss what I am preparing, which is far better. Seasonal shifts do not always arrive with fanfare. They often come quietly, like a seed sprouting beneath the soil unseen, unnoticed, unpraised. But in that hidden place, I am opening doors. I am positioning people. I am setting up opportunities that appear random but are divinely orchestrated. And I am watching. Do you perceive the season changing? Are you still clinging to old patterns? Or are you ready to let me lead you into the unknown? When Israel left Egypt, the first thing I did was not grant them the promised land. I taught them to know me. They had experienced deliverance, but did not yet know how to live in freedom. And so it is with many. They are saved, but still do not live as citizens of the kingdom. They've left bondage, but still carry a mindset of slavery. They are free from oppressors, yet remain bound by fear and doubt. I could not bring them into the promise with Egyptian thinking. That is why many perished in the wilderness, not because I lacked power, but because their hearts refused to change. I do not want that for you. I want you to complete the journey from beginning to the full inheritance of everything I have promised. But for that to happen, you must be willing to change not just your circumstances, but the way you think, feel, and respond. Perhaps you've grown accustomed to defensive living, to expecting the worst instead of hoping for the best. But I am calling you to renew your mind. Learn to expect goodness. Learn to see opportunity within challenge. Learn to declare life instead of complaint. It is there that breakthrough will begin. You may have endured a long season of delays, of weariness, of unmet longing, but do not let the past become prophecy over your future. The old season has passed. Let it go. Do not carry the memory of failure into the new journey. I am the one who makes all things new, and what I am preparing for you is nothing like what you've experienced before. Do not confine me to the ways I have acted in your past. I am the God of endless creativity. Old roads may close, but I am making a way in the wilderness, streams in the wasteland. You will never lack a path when I am the one guiding you. What you must do is walk, not wait for clarity, not wait for stable emotions, not wait for someone's approval. When I say go, obedience is what I seek. Some doors only open when you move. Some revelations only come when you take the first step. Remember Abraham. He did not know where he was going, but he trusted the one who called him. Faith is not knowing all the details, it is trusting the one who does, and following his voice. Do not fear if the new journey feels lonely. Separation often precedes elevation. You cannot bring everyone, every thought, every habit with you. Some things must be cut off. Some people must be left behind, not because you don't love them, but because I am calling you to a place they are not meant to go. Just as I told Abraham to leave his family, I am seeking undivided loyalty. If you carry what I've asked you to lay down, the weight will slow you down and tangle the path I've set before you. And when you walk in obedience, even if you do not see immediate results, remember, I am working. Not every seed sprouts the next day, but every seed of obedience holds the potential of an abundant harvest. What I need from you is not ability, but availability. You don't have to be perfect, just willing. When you give me a tender heart, I will do wonders through you beyond anything you can imagine. Some seasons are not measured by outward fruit, but by inward faithfulness in small things. Do not measure your progress by visible results, but by your unconditional obedience to me. A seed does not blossom on day one. and often the most precious things are formed in hidden places, unknown to others. So too, I am building something within you, a faith that cannot be shaken, a character refined by fire, a perseverance born through tears, but destined to bloom with glory. I do not shape my servants in ease, but in the seemingly silent days where faith must rise above emotion. Every time you choose to obey me without having all the answers, every time you continue to pray though the sky remains silent, every time you plant trust in me instead of blaming your circumstances, those are the moments you are forging spiritual armor for the battles ahead. These are not meaningless actions. They are all remembered. Not one act of faithfulness falls to the ground without bearing fruit. Remember what I spoke through the prophet Samuel. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart, and it is in your heart unseen by others that I am measuring, refining, and shaping you into the pattern of heaven. My child, do not be confused when others seem to walk more easily, are praised more often, promoted more quickly. Fix your eyes on Minnow on them. I do not measure as man measures. What the world calls success is often a passing illusion, but what I build endures forever. Some may move fast, but lack depth. You, I am making steady, like a tree growing deep roots before rising tall. I am grounding you in truth. When the storm season comes, the tree with deep roots will not be uprooted. And when the season of harvest arrives, only those trees that stood firm through the winds will bear long-lasting fruit. My child, do not be in a rush to rise before you've learned to remain. Don't try to escape the very process I am using to prepare you. Many desire to step into glory without passing through stillness, but glory without the roots of obedience becomes a burden. Glory without refinement only leads to pride. I love you too much to let that happen. So if you find yourself in a season that feels meaningless, know that it is not in vain. It is an essential part of how I am preparing you for something far greater. There are things you've been praying for that I have not yet given, not because I have not heard, but because I am waiting for your heart to grow large enough to carry the blessing. A gift too great in the hands of one not yet mature can become a danger. Just as I didn't lead my people into the promised land in a single day, but instead taught them over 40 years how to live as free people, I, too, do not rush with what is precious. If I seem to delay, it's because what I'm preparing for you is not ordinary. I'm not doing something small in you, but a work of eternal significance. And to hold it, you must be refined like pure gold. When you are faithful in places no one sees, that's when you truly become someone I can entrust with greater things. Learn from Job, who didn't understand why he had to suffer, but remained faithful nonetheless, and that very faithfulness made him a model for generations to come. Job didn't need answers. He just needed to know that I was still there. And when I spoke, he was restored double. But the greatest reward wasn't his increased possessions. It was the wisdom and deep intimacy with me that he gained through the trial. That's what I want for you, not just external restoration, but internal transformation. My child, patience is not just waiting, it's your posture while you wait. Don't let your heart harden under the thought that I've forgotten you. Don't let delay dim your view of my love. Instead, let every day be a living testimony that you still trust me, still choose my ways, still raise your praises even when you haven't seen the miracle. That is real faith that doesn't demand proof. Faith that stands in the desert. Faith that is rooted not in outcomes but in the unchanging one. Don't be surprised if you find yourself in places you wouldn't have chosen. Often, the very things you didn't want become the ground where I lay the foundation for a powerful future. I do nothing by accident. Every detail of your life joy or pain is held within my sovereign hand. And if you see with eyes of faith, you'll recognize that what looked like failure was actually the first step toward a new open door. No loss is meaningless. No waiting is wasted when you're living under my guidance. There will be paths you must walk alone, not because I've abandoned you, but because I want you to learn to hear my voice in the stillness. There will be times I do not speak, because I want you to learn to obey what I've already said. You won't live by feelings, but by the living word. Just as Elisha followed Elijah through 4 locations, Gilgal, Bethel, Jericho, and the Jordan before receiving the mantle of power, so must you learn to be faithful in each season, each trial, each level of spiritual instruction. There is no shortcut to maturity, but whoever perseveres with me will see me revealed in power and glory. My child, do not abandon the process just because the excitement has faded. Let consecration, not emotion, lead the way. Passion may launch you well, but it is quiet perseverance that will carry you to the finish. Some begin the race with loud cheers, but cannot keep their footing when the winds rise. I am searching for those who remain faithful, not for applause, not for recognition, but simply because I am worthy. This is the foundation of my kingdom. People who may seem small in the eyes of the world but are great in mine. For they seek not man's approval, but the pleasure of the one who called them. None of my promises return void, but sometimes they require a large enough space to take root and bloom. What you are waiting for is not delayed because I forgot it, is because you are being made ready to steward it well. If I gave you a position before preparing your heart, that position would break you. If I lifted you high while your spirit was still fragile, temptation would crush you in an instant. But because I love you, I will not allow that to happen. I would rather let you lose a season than lose your soul to hollow fame. Rejoice when I prune you, for whom I love. I discipline so that in the end, you may bear abundant and lasting fruit. Just as Joseph was betrayed, sold, and imprisoned, yet never let bitterness take root still, keeping himself pure and reverent before, Meso, too, am I teaching you to live faithfully in adversity. That's where your character is forged. When you can forgive while wounded, stay upright in injustice, and choose trust over resentment, you are growing in spirit. I do not measure you by the number of years you walk with me, but by how much you reflect me at the end of each year. And those who allow me to mold them, I will lead into places they never imagined. Do not confuse delay with neglect. Do not confuse loneliness with abandonment. Let the dry seasons teach you to drink from my living well, not seek satisfaction from others. Do not let the noise around you drown out my gentle, powerful voice within you. Let your heart be the dwelling place of my presence, untainted by carnal desires or ambition. Guard what I've planted in you, for the time will come when I cause it to bear fruit, and every eye will see. Every mouth will say, "This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes." End quote. My child, when you stand amid a generation that is faltering, when truth is replaced by personal feeling, when values are turned upside down, this is when your light must shine brighter than ever. But that light cannot only be in your words. It must radiate from a life immersed in truth. In a world where everything has become relative, I am looking for those who live absolutely for me without compromise, without wavering, not choosing ease but choosing the narrow way of the cross that leads to eternal life. I do not call you to run from the world, but to be in it without being of it, like Daniel in Babylon, surrounded by everything that opposed holiness, yet never allowing his environment to affect his loyalty. So must you learn to remain pure in a corrupted culture. Daniel didn't need to shout to be heard. His holiness caused kings to listen. I don't need a noisy crowd. I need one unified heart. When you stand firm in me, I will cause even rulers to listen to your voice, for it will be the voice of my power within you. My child, you will be tested not only in hardship, but in prosperity, because it's not only suffering that reveals character, glory can do the same. Some fall, not in pain, but in unexpected success. Some don't lose their faith in the prison, but in the palace. That's why you must remain watchful, not just in sorrow, but also in blessing. Don't let my gifts pull your heart away from me. Don't let the blessings make you forget the giver. Keep your heart soft, whether in seasons of harvest or sowing. Know this: the world will not easily receive someone who walks differently. You may be misunderstood, mocked, isolated, but remember, you're not called to please the world. You are made to be salt and light, and both can be offensive to those who love darkness. But that same salt preserves life. That same light guides wanderers home. Do not fear when people oppose you for the sake of truth. Do not waver when you must stand alone among those who have turned from me. I once stood alone on the crossand that solitude saved the world. If you share in my suffering, you will also share in my glory. Child, the true danger is not the pressure from outside, but the slow erosion from within. It's not the storm that sinks the boat, it's the water that gets inside. So don't let the world seep into your soul through small compromises. A glance that lingers, a thought left unrenewed, a decision not prayed. Through each one opens the door to drift. Guard the gates of your heart with diligence. Let my word be your standard in all you think, say, and do. Do not compare yourself to others. Let me be your only measure. What man praises may be what I despise, and what the world rejects may be what I call precious. Examine your heart honestly, for not everything that looks good comes from light. The enemy today no longer only works through blatant evil, but often disguises himself as a distorted form of light. The greatest deception doesn't hide in crude darkness, but in twisted brightness that confuses the soul. These are teachings that sound right, ideas that mix truth with error, words that soothe, but lack my word at their core. They are wrapped in eloquence, embraced because they comfort and avoid conviction. But I have not come to soothe falsehood. I've come to pierce and dividato, separate soul from spirit, thought from intent. My word is a double-edged sword, not just for battles out there, but to prune what still resists me within. Don't be afraid when I discipline you. Don't reject me when I expose the hidden places you haven't yet surrendered. I discipline because I love, and those who accept my correction, those are my true children. Let me train you like a faithful soldier, not a civilian swayed by every wind. Practice your faith. Persist in my word. Keep spiritual discipline like an athlete training for the day of victory. As you walk this journey, you'll be asked to give up things not because they are evil, but because they don't bear spiritual fruit. Paul wrote, "All things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial." 1 Corinthians 6:12. You must discern between what is good and what is of meno. Everything good is what I've chosen for you. Some things are logical but not aligned with my will. Some open doors don't lead to where I want you to go. And if you don't learn to hear my voice amid the clamor of this world, you may easily misstep and lose yourself in choices that seemed harmless. Do not follow the pace of the world. Fast doesn't mean right. Glitter doesn't mean true. Popular doesn't mean it's my will. Learn to pause before me, to seek my direction before each decision. Let my word be the lamp to your feet, not public opinion. Emotions, or fleshly urges. In the wilderness, my people were fed daily manna, not to hoard, but to learn total dependence. You too must not live by yesterday's memory or vague hope for tomorrow. Walk daily, obey step by step, and you will never lose your way. Don't get swept up in the tide of compromise. I haven't called you to live comfortably. I've called you to live victoriously. Compromise begins, small, careless word, a hidden thought, a retreat when you should have stood. Little by little, your soul becomes numb, and your spiritual sensitivity fades. Keep your heart soft before me, and bold before darkness. Always be ready to speak truth amid a silent crowd. Don't let fear paralyze the truth inside you. Like Daniel, you may be cast into the lion's den, but if your heart does not waver, my angel will shut the mouths of every force that seeks your ruin. My child, I know you are not always strong. I see the moments when you wrestle between the longing to be accepted and the call to remain faithful to the truth. But know this, silent obedience resounds in heaven. When you choose what is right in secret, when you refuse what is wrong, though no one sees, that is when heaven opens and I pour out strength upon you. Live for my gaze, not the eyes of men. A small act done in my name can shake the spiritual realm. Do not underestimate the power of quiet steadfastness. I see it, I remember it, and I will reward it. If you live according to my standards, I will make your life a living testimony to this generation that even in an age where truth is twisted, there are still those who stand firm. I will turn the hearts of those who have forgotten me. I will place undeniable wisdom on your lips. Your light will shine not to elevate you, but to lead many into eternal light. That is your highest calling, not to be seen, but to reflect my glory. My child, remember, your faith is not tested when things are smooth, but when what you believe is shaken, when what once seemed unshakable begins to tremble. Your true roots are revealed. I am not afraid of your questions, but I want you to ask them in the right place. Instead of, "Why is this happening?" ask, "Lord, what do you want me to learn through this?" When your focus shifts from demanding answers to desiring transformation, that is when you step into true spiritual maturity. Faith does not grow in comfort, but in trial, like Joseph, who was sold, falsely accused, and imprisoned. It was in the darkness that his spirit was sharpened and his character refined. That season was not wasted, was preparation for the great responsibility I had destined. If I could use a prison to prepare a prime minister, can I not use your current adversity to shape you for greater things? You are in a divine process. Let me finish what I've started. Many times you feel pressed from every side, misunderstood, judged, like a fragile clay jar. But Scripture says, We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. 2 Corinthians 4-7. Your strength is not in appearance, but in the one who lives within you. You don't need to prove anything to the world. Let your life testify to my presence. Your outward weakness will only highlight the fullness within. If you let my spirit move freely, be cautious of the need to be seen. Human recognition cannot compare to my affirmation. What you do in the secret, place your hidden prayers. Your unseen sacrifices, these are recorded in heaven. I do not measure greatness by scale, but by faithfulness. One who keeps a pure heart in anonymity is as precious to me as one who proclaims in the streets. I seek wholeness of heart, not flashy achievements. Remember, true light doesn't try to shine, it simply radiates in darkness. There are times I intentionally hide you from public view, not because I've forgotten you, but because I am sheltering you. Like a blacksmith conceals the blade in fire until it is soft, hot, and malleable, I am doing the same with you. If you come out too soon, your form will be flawed. But if you stay patiently, you will become a sharp instrument. So do not envy those who are used publicly. Focus on letting me shape you in the hidden place. Once you are brought forth, no force can hinder the purpose I have for you. The hidden years are not wasted years. I am laying your foundation in silence, and only when the foundation is deep enough will I raise the building high. If you desire lasting impact, you must go deep. Dig deep in prayer, in my word, in surrender. Let the roots of faith sink deep into the soil so that when storms come, you are not uprooted. Those who build on sand seek ease. But when storms come, all collapses. Those who build on the rock, though it takes time and effort, will stand firm. I am that rock. Don't measure your journey by speed, measure it by obedience. Some move fast, but stray quickly. Others move slowly. Yet every step is aligned with my guidance. I care not how fast you reach the end, but whether you reach the right end. Every step with me has eternal value. Don't compare your path with another's. Keep your eyes fixed on the one who leads. For you are called to a unique path, for a unique purpose, in a time appointed by me. My child, in the moments when no one sees you, when you feel unimportant, unnoticed, unremarkable, those are the times I work most deeply in you. I am reshaping your inner values, breaking the world's definition of success in your mind and replacing it with my heavenly perspective. I do not look at appearance, achievements, or accolades. I look at surrendered hearts. A person wholly dependent on me is the most powerful instrument in my hands. Even if they have nothing outwardly, with me in them, all things are possible. Examine the motives of your heart. What are you seeking when you do good? Recognition, praise, or obedience born of love? If your heart is still tied to people's approval, you will be shaken when it doesn't come. But if you do all things as unto me, no one can steal your reward, because your reward doesn't come from men, it comes from me. And I forget nothing. Every seed you sow, even in secret, will bear fruit in due season, nothing missing. My child, in times of transition, the first thing I teach is not action, but listening. Nothing is more dangerous than a soul acting in the silence of heaven. In some seasons, I do not ask you to move forward, but to stand firm. My silence is not. Absence is a test. Do you truly trust what I said before? Silence does not mean I've abandoned you. In sacred silence, I teach you to trust without proof, to be faithful without reward, to walk without a map. On this journey with me, you will learn not all silence is emptiness. Some silences are full of revelation. What looks like delay may be divine preparation. As with Elijah on Mount Horeb, I was not in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire, but in the still small voice. And so it is with you, my child. While you wait for a thunderous miracle, I may come as a whisper gentle, but filled with power. Many seek confirmation through visible signs, but I want you to know me by faith. If you believe only what you see, it is not true faith. True faith continues walking when all senses say stop. It continues praising when there seems nothing to praise for. It continues waiting when all hope appears gone. My child, know this. It is through endurance that the greatest glories are born. It is faithfulness in darkness that truly honors the light. Some lessons cannot be learned on mountaintops. They are forged in the valleys. I trained David to fight in solitude before I gave him a crown. The quiet hours of tending sheep became the birthplace of psalms known throughout the world. And so it is with you. The days you deem insignificant are composing the soundtrack for your coming victory. Each faithful day in the secret place is a declaration to hell that you live not for recognition but for calling. When your soul feels dry, don't be quick to blame yourself or think I've withdrawn. Like a teacher silent during a test, I am present, observing every thought, word, and motive. Dry seasons teach you to draw water from the deep wells of intimacy with Minot through feelings. But through promises, I want you to become a tree planted by streams of living water, bearing fruit in season, whose leaf does not wither because your roots go deep into eternal life. When others begin receiving their answers while you still wait, guard your heart against envy. It will only poison your soul. Let their joy be prophecy for what I will also do for you. I do not play favorites. I work with strategy and purpose. If I delay, it's because I'm preparing the best. I give not just what you want, but what will yield eternal fruit. What arrives in my time is not merely a gift, it is a divine signature. My child, do not be swayed by what others say. They may not understand, support, or even oppose you. But in rejection, you will learn that only one voice defines your value, mine. If I call you chosen, no can undo it. If I declare blessing, none can revoke it. Like Joseph, who was sold and cast aside, the very hands that rejected him unknowingly propelled him into my plan. And so it is with you. What the enemy meant for harm, I will turn for good. When your heart is right before me, nothing, no person, no circumstance, no power can keep you from what I've prepared. What I require is not perfection, but surrender, not your own strength, but a heart that trusts, not your talent, but your posture. I can use a simple vessel for great things if it is fully yielded, and I will do the unexpected in ways no one foresees through you, if you remain faithful when no one is watching. There are moments when you mistake heaven's silence for distance, but it is not so. It is the sacred space where I invite you to deeper fellowship not built on feelings, but on covenant, one that remains, regardless of your perception. Heaven's movements aren't always loud. Sometimes they come in the quiet breath of the wind, in the stillness of water, or in the deep knowing within you that you are held by the unseen, even when you see no results. I am still working. Just as a seed is hidden in darkness before it breaks forth, so are you. It's not neglect, it's preparation. I'm working in the unseen parts of you, shaping you for a public harvest. If a seed sprouts too early, with shallow roots, it is easily uprooted. But if it embraces hiddenness, it will one day rise strong and fruitful. That's the kind of strength I'm cultivating in you. My beloved, I don't want you merely to survive trials. I want you to emerge with spiritual spoils. Not everyone who suffers gains wisdom, but those who listen amid the screams of pain will learn what no textbook can teach. Your tears, if placed in my hands, will become healing oil for others. Every wound, surrendered to me, will become a doorway to compassion. I don't just heal you to restore you, I heal you to make you a healer. Never forget, you are not called to compare your journey to another's. The only measure that matters is your faithfulness to what I've entrusted to you. Don't look to the right or the left. Each one is called uniquely, and each time is divinely appointed, like stars in the night sky. When Peter asked about John's destiny, I did not give an explanation. I said, "What is that to you? Follow me." And so must you. Keep your eyes fixed on me. Don't be drawn into the endless race of comparison. Remember, envy is dangerous. It wounds the soul and distorts the calling. A gatekeeper must not desire the trumpet's roll. I assign roles and rewards with eternal wisdom. No calling is small when given from heaven. Whether you sow, water, or reapall are precious to me. Don't let carnal vision blur your spiritual sight. What you see as small may be the cornerstone of a much greater plan. Above all, my child, know this: nothing you do in obedience to me is ever in vain. Every hidden act, every unseen sacrifice, every whispered prayer, they are all recorded. In heaven, nothing is anonymous. I saw when you forgave, though you had reason to hate. I saw when you chose honesty, when deception would have been easier. I heard your sighs in the night, when no one stood beside you. All these rise as fragrant incense before my throne, and they will never be forgotten. My child, when you feel forgotten by the world, that is the very moment heaven is reminding you that you are remembered. When no applause is heard, know that a great cloud of witnesses surrounds you, cheering you on. When no one affirms you, you will learn to live for the only gaze that truly matters, mine. Do not measure your worth by applause. Do not define success by what is seen. A life hidden in me can quietly shake the foundations of eternity. Learn to hear my voice in the little things. If you cannot recognize me in the simple, you will not discern me in the great. I often don't speak through thunder, but through dew upon the petals. I rarely come as a whirlwind, but as a stream threading through stone. Without stillness, you will miss the voice that moves heaven. Time in quiet before me is never wasted. It is the deepest spiritual investment you can make. Remember, no time is ever wasted when offered to me. The seasons that feel stagnant are the very ones where roots are deepening. The unnoticed days are when foundations are being laid that no storm can shake. Don't be eager to step into ministry and miss the process. Don't crave position and neglect character. Don't demand the fruit if you're not willing to endure the planting. Never underestimate the power of quiet faithfulness. There are choices only you and I know about. Battles no one sees. Moments you rise after failure with no cheer. In those unseen moments, you become most like me, not through dazzling glory, but in steady steps. You are being transformed. Silent victories often build the strongest kingdoms. Waiting is not delay, it is training. An athlete does not ascend the podium without silent hours of training. A warrior is not sent to battle until he's grown familiar with sword and armor. So do not be surprised if I lead you through silent halls where no one knows your name, and your prayers echo in the dark. That is where I forge faith, build humility, and lay the unbreakable framework of character. Remind yourself always, the ones I choose are often those the world has rejected. I chose Moses from the wilderness, David from the forgotten fields, Esther as an orphan in a foreign land. I don't choose based on appearance or influence. I choose based on the heart, and your heart, if it remains honest, soft, and surrendered, will become the dwelling place of my glory. Stop searching for big doors. I am the door, a door opened by my hand. Not your striving leads to a ministry no man can shake. If you force a door before its time, you will enter a space my covering has not yet prepared. But if you wait for me, when I open the door, none can shut it. Promotion from me is never the result of strategy, but always the fruit of obedience. Do not let the barrenness of today make you doubt tomorrow. What seems like a dry season is my pruning. An unpruned tree grows branches without fruit, but the tree that endures the shears, though painful, will channel life into fruit-bearing branches. I am cutting away what is unnecessary in your life, not because I reject you, but because I see the greater ahead. Don't hold on to what I am removing. Don't mourn what I know cannot journey with you to the promise. Holiness is not a burden, it is an honor. When I call you to be different, it's not to restrict you, but to set you apart for something higher, like temple vessels set aside for sacred use. You too are being consecrated to carry my glory. Holiness is not just saying no to what is wrong, it is saying yes to being fully formed in my image. When you begin to love holiness, it will no longer feel like obligation, but desire. Don't let counterfeits pull you from what is true. The world will always offer shortcuts, alluring promises, and hasty opportunities. But early does not always mean divine. The enemy offered Jesus all kingdoms if he bowed down, but Jesus refused, knowing the true kingdom would come through the cross, not compromise. So too, my dear child, do not trade the eternal for the temporary. What I've promised will come in my time, and no good thing will I withhold from those who walk uprightly. Know that steadfastness does not come from emotion but conviction. In dry days, let faith be your compass. When you feel nothing, see nothing, hear nothing, that is when true faith arises. Faith does not need proof. It walks through darkness, trusting the sun will rise. And I say to you, the sun will rise. Dawn cannot be stopped. My faithfulness, not your feelings, will bring it to pass. Do not rush to the end while you're still in the journey. A baby born too soon cannot survive. A dream birthed prematurely cannot thrive. Let me complete what I began in you. Do not push. Do not rush. Do not trade maturity for comfort. For when you are whole, steadfast, mature, and lacking nothing, then you will see my word come alive. No word from my mouth will return void. All will be fulfilled in my way. In my time, my beloved, the veil is lifting. You have walked through shadowed seasons, through valleys of tears, through misunderstanding, separation, and a spiritual hunger no human could fill. But in those long nights, I planted seeds. No one saw, no one knew, but I watched every moment endured for my name. And now I say, those seeds of faith are breaking open. A season of flourishing is near, not as you imagined, but as I designed. Be ready, for the early rains are forming on the horizon. They will refresh not only your field, but awaken barren lands around you that had long stopped expecting miracles. Yet before life bursts forth, your heart must be cleared. Some old roots must be pulled. Some false beliefs deeply planted must go. If not removed, they will choke the new. Doubts once tolerated, old definitions of me, of yourself, of how I work must be replaced by truth. Not learned truth, but lived truth. Truth found in battles, in tears, in deserts. In those places, you learned I am not only powerful but near. I am the one who sees the broken-hearted and never despises a contrite spirit. There are things I'm about to do in your life that even you haven't dared to hope for, because your heart grew too used to waiting and weariness. But I am the God who restores what was dead. I call things that are not as though they were. Just as I led Ezekiel to a valley of dry bones and asked, "Can these bones live?" So I now ask you, do you believe dreams buried long ago can live again? Do you believe I can use what seems ruined to reveal my glory? Don't look at your circumstance. Look at the one who calls you, the one who makes deserts bloom and paths open in the impossible. My child, do not hesitate when I lead you through uncharted ways. I do not repeat old methods. Moses once struck the rock, and water flowed. But when he did so again, instead of speaking as I commanded, he missed something greater. You cannot rely on what worked before. Yesterday's manna is not enough for today. Yesterday's revelation is not enough for the steps ahead. I am inviting you into deeper intimacy, where every word I speak is living bread for your soul. Learn to hear me afresh each morning. Each step for you are being called to new depths only surrendered hearts can enter. And do not be surprised if I begin to remove things that once seemed good. Some things aren't wrong, but they no longer fit the season ahead. A climber sheds baggage as they ascend. Blessings from one season may become burdens in the next. Be ready to release. Let me prune. It will make room for more fruit. Relationships, roles, even dreams you labored over, if they no longer align with my eternal plan. Let me tear them down. Do not fear. When I take something, I always replace it with greater, not just to comfort you, but to fulfill a purpose far beyond what you understand. There are doors I have closed, not out of rejection, but protection. You can't see what's behind them, but I do. Connections, offers, opportunities. They may look good, but would wound your soul or delay your destiny. Trust me when I say no. Today's denial might be tomorrow's preservation. When you trust me not just in my answers, but in my silence and restraint, you enter a mature faith, a faith that doesn't demand explanation, only presence. My timing rarely aligns with your clock, but do not confuse silence with absence. I have never left you. Even in your loneliest hour, I was working the most. Just as a seed must stay buried before breaking through the soil, You are in that same process. I am shaping you in anonymity, rooting you in secret, shielding you from storms you're not ready to face. When the time is right, you will not knock, the doors will open. And what I open, no man can shut. What I build, none can destroy. What I give, no hand can take away. When I bring you out of the darkness, it is not just to free you, it is to make you light in dark places. Your freedom is not an end, but a beginning of a greater assignment. I didn't deliver Israel from Egypt to camp in the desert, but to possess the promise. Real freedom always carry purpose. And you, my beloved, were set free not just to live, but to live for something greater than yourself. But before you step into commission, you must learn to carry my presence. I do not send out the skilled. I send out those who carry heaven's atmosphere. As Moses said, if your presence doesn't go with us, don't send us. So too must you never dare to go without me. Many are caught up in zeal but forget, it is not ministry that brings my presence, but my presence that brings fruit to ministry. When you carry me, there is no need to impress. I will move hearts, open doors, and tear down strongholds. My child, when my presence becomes your priority, you will be set apart. My presence cannot coexist with compromise. There can be no room for light where darkness still reigns. I will begin to nudge your heart about the little things, unsubmitted attitudes, careless words, hidden thoughts that invite impurity. Don't resist my correction. Don't ignore the gentle stirrings in your spirit. Those small responses shape the great character I am forming in you. The distinction I placed in you is not for strangeness, but for holiness. You need not speak loudly to be seen. My presence in you will make you stand out. Like Daniel in a foreign palace, who didn't need to shout to defend his faith. His righteousness made kings take notice. When you obey me in secret, I will honor you in public. You don't need to defend yourself. I will lift you, speak for you, and cause even enemies to bow before my power in you. But don't confuse distinction with isolation. I didn't call you out of the world to place you on a spiritual island. I called you to live among people while staying untainted. As Jesus walked among crowds yet remained untouched by their culture, so too are you called to walk. Light was never meant to be hidden. I gave you light not to store, but to shine not with harsh words, but with unconditional love, true compassion, and a life that testifies to my grace. The change I am working in you is not to make you someone strange, but to return you to your truest self, sin and pain distorted, my image in you. But now I am gently wiping away the dust to reveal the glory I saw before the world ever knew your name. Don't fear the process. You may feel like you're losing what's familiar, but in truth, you are reclaiming who you were always meant to be. As you release masks, expectations, and burdens, you will find yourself lighter, freer, living not for approval, but for my pleasure. And then you will see the dreams I planted begin to awaken spiritual longings, buried visions, strange ideas you once dismissed. No, they weren't your imagination. They are signs that I am awakening your calling from deep within. Those desires did not originate from you, but from me, your creator. You were designed for a purpose no one else can fulfill in exactly the same way. Don't underestimate it. Don't call yourself small. For greatness is not measured by visibility, but by eternal impact, quiet and enduring. My child, when you begin to recognize what I have placed within you, do not hesitate. Step out. Begin. Even if all you hold is a single seed plant, even if you have only 5 loaves and 2 fish, offer them. Even if all you carry is a staff, lift it. For I am the one who performs miracles. But miracles begin with your obedience. Every step you take, no matter how small, opens the way for something greater. You do not need to see the whole picture to draw the first line. Go with what you have, and I will provide what you need along the way. After all I have done in you, now is the time to rise and walk in the power already given. You are no longer the one who hangs their head in shame or bound by self-doubt. You are one who has been prepared, refined, and commissioned. What you have overcome was not random, it was spiritual training. Every tear, every fall, every rising again is evidence of my grace at work within you. And now I call you, not as a survivor, but as one who carries the banner of victory in a generation hungry for true life. You will find yourself no longer speaking theory, but bearing living testimony. Your words will carry the weight of anointed experience. People will not listen only because of your eloquence, but because something deep within them will recognize the truth in you. This is the fruit of a spirit once crushed, but not broken. You will not need to prove yourself, for I will confirm your sending with signs no one can deny. Dry lands will crack open to receive the freshness that flows from your soul. The weary and burned by dead religion will awaken through the life you carry. Remember, you do not carry glory for yourself. Every victory, every deliverance, every broken chain is for my name to be lifted high. As you step onto the mission field, keep your heart soft. Do not let human recognition divert you from my leading. As Paul said, we do not preach ourselves, but Christ Jesus is Lord. So you also shall preach through your life, a life broken like bread, poured out like wine, that others may live. At times, you will feel like a lone lamp in thick darkness, but do not let your light go out. I have placed you there not to blend in, but to shift the spiritual atmosphere. Some places will not receive you. Some hearts will close off from your words, but do not be discouraged. So, even when the soil is hard, love. Even when hearts are cold, persevere. Even when fruit is not visible. The seed I placed in you is holy seed, and holy seed does not perish. It will bear fruit in its season. My child, protect the oil I have poured over your life. That oil is precious and not to be wasted. Do not let good works overshadow my presence. You can serve without my presence, but you cannot remain in my presence and not be changed. Let everything you do flow from deep union with me. When my presence is the root, the fruit will be natural. You do not need to strive to sustain what I did not start, but neither must you neglect what I am upholding. Be watchful. Be prayerful. Live as if each day is a chance to make eternal impact. Cherish the relationships I am bringing into your life. No one is called to walk alone. I will surround you with those who carry the same vision, samme burden, and same commitment. Build with them through trust, truth, and mutual honor. Do not let past wounds block new connections I am orchestrating. Some will lift your arms when you are weary. Some prayers will keep you standing amid storms. And there will be those I call you to support, mentor, and ignite. Always remember, true success is not measured by outward greatness, but daily faithfulness. When no one sees, I see. When no one applauds, I am recording every drop of your sacrifice in the eternal book. Do not compare your journey to anyone else's. Each is called to a different purpose. Run your race. Keep your eyes on me, and let my voice be the only one that guides. Results are not measured by how much you do, but by whether you obeyed and lived true to what I entrusted you with. There will be moments when you feel tired, not because you are weak, but because you are fighting for what matters. Do not mistake weariness for failure. In the moments you think you are doing nothing significant, perhaps a single kind word saved a soul from the edge. A quiet act of love may be a miracle to someone ready to give up. Never underestimate the power of a surrendered heart. In my hands, the smallest thing can shake heaven and earth. My beloved, now, as you stand at the threshold of a new season, step in with unwavering faith. The past no longer defines you. Mistakes are no longer your identity. Failures cannot hold you back. You are called, chosen, and marked by my grace. Walk as one who carries the glory of heaven within one, who knows where they come from and where they're going. And as you live this way, you will not only witness your own transformation, but see the world around you begin to stir, awaken, and come alive. Thank you for receiving today's message. Subscribe and turn on notifications so we may continue to receive living words. Build unshakable faith and walk in the boundless love of Christ. Amen.